All right, hello everybody, and welcome to another XTIVIA live session, The Power of Digital Ecosystems, presented by Lynn Scheurell. My name is Alex Killian, and I'm the video editor and digital media specialist here on XTIVIA's marketing team. Before we dive into our live session this morning, I want to tell you a little bit about our company. Since 1992, XTIVIA has established a proven reputation as a company that delivers leading-edge IT solutions and technology support for our clients' specific requirements, regardless of project complexity. Our service areas include mobile app development, BIDW, CRM, ERP, data management, web portal, digital experience design, and EIM services and solutions. XTIVIA's success stems from a demonstrated ability to deliver deep expertise via professional services, empowering clients to leverage their chosen technology successfully, competitively, and profitably. XTIVIA has offices in Colorado, New York, New Jersey, Missouri, Texas, and Virginia. And with that, we'll go ahead and start our live session here. If you have any questions come up, please submit them in the Q&A section or comment on our YouTube live stream, and we'll do our very best to answer those at the end of the session. And also, all of the links referenced in this presentation will be available in the description box on our YouTube channel. So today we will be hearing from Lynn Scheurell, the lead digital strategist for XTIVIA. Lynn Scheurell is has been creating creating experiences through content and copy in digital marketing and messaging since 1998. She is known for her unique perspective, positive, empowering mindset, and abilities as a high communicator to deliver significant value. She translates complex concepts into simple clarity for practical action. And we'll be getting a good dose of that today. So Lynn, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Oh, thank you. I'm excited to be here. Well, let's get rolling. Let's start with the agenda. Just so people know what we're going to be covering today, we're going to be looking at ecosystems, your customers, the business ecosystem, the big business ecosystem, 7 questions that can reveal how your ecosystem is running. And then we're going to talk about the ecosystem of technology. So on this slide, I want to draw your attention to the upper right corner where it says, we are in the Internet of Me. If this were the ending of a presentation, that would be like a dramatic mic drop moment, right? The Internet of Me gives you a clue as to what's happening in your customers in their ecosystems. So let's take a look at what's happening in terms of what is an ecosystem. So these are some real world ecosystems. An ecosystem is a network that is formed by individual parts through interaction to form a community. So each of these communities is interdependent on each of its parts. Smaller ecosystems make up larger ones. So the algae feeds the fish, which populate the water, which feeds the plants, which oxygenates the planet. The people live in the houses that are in the neighborhoods that create communities. The light bulbs in the houses are powered by the local power plants that are connected to regional power grids to create a national network of electricity that you can see from space. The people around the table who collaborate on a project that generates new opportunities and revenues by delivering value to customers that power a business. You can see ecosystems are everywhere. They are so important. So let's talk about digital ecosystems. And we're going to talk about ecosystems in terms of how they influence customer and employee expectations and experiences. The result of how these ecosystems connect in your business, as well as how you streamline your operations, ultimately decides the fate of your company. Dun, dun, dun. Seriously, that right there kind of sums up customer experience. But so why is that? Because if any part of your business's ecosystem is out of alignment, then your business is losing opportunities, customers, revenues, maybe even employees to your competition. I know, not pretty. So it's what I call the natural law of enterprise. Deliver better experiences for more customer value through innovation, efficiency, and systems, or your competitor will. I know, I hate to be the messenger on that one, but that's kind of the way it is. So let's talk about customer ecosystems. Brand experiences are now measured by the last best experience a customer had with any brand. So enterprises are competing on a level playing field, really. So, is IKEA doing something amazing? Or how about Dell or Canon or Amazon or one of the big banks or a major healthcare system? Those are now the benchmarks by which your customers are evaluating their experiences with your brand. I just had a series of calls with a major cell phone provider who shall remain nameless. But it was not only over a series of calls, but within each call, all around the situation, same situation, I had to re-identify myself, revalidate myself, restate my entire situation to each new person. And as a consumer, I'm not so happy about that. After, 12 hours on the phone, by now they should kind of know who I am, right? So, I expect that. I expect that they're going to know who I am, what I'm calling about, how to solve my problem, where I'm at in my issue, because a major online brand has that capability. And, if every other brand out there has that, I have that experience. Why can't a telecommunications company do that, right? So that's what's in my head as a consumer. So that's what happens. Your customers have their priorities. What a brand does is make that customer's priorities happen faster, easier, smoother, more affordably. If a brand doesn't do that, or the customer has a negative, or even just a marginal experience, or worst of all, if their trust is broken, the customer will vote with their dollars, and that brand will lose the customer. So each brand and buying experience, each brand touch point, everything becomes an ecosystem within the customer's ecosystem. And, maybe this is the secret to capitalism, because if your brand ecosystem is better than anybody else's brand ecosystem, then yours gets to live in the customer's ecosystem. But I digress. Here is what's happening, as a refresher, here's what's happening for customers when they're in their buying experience. They become aware of their need and they find a solution. They evaluate that solution or try a few out. They buy the solution, they start using it, and when they're successful, they want to share how they did that, so they become brand advocates. That is what we enterprise folk call nirvana. But this is the customer buying journey. And once a customer becomes an advocate, you still have to continue to earn their business and be worthy of their trust. So you don't get to nirvana and coast. So in fact, nobody gets to coast. That's the nature of where we're at today in digital enterprise. So let's talk about business ecosystems. Because for the customer is all about the customer, not about the brand. Well, the brand is all about the customer. That's all that matters. The customer is everything. So the customer determines the value of a brand as a solution provider. The brand is always dancing to meet customer perceptions while maintaining all these other systems and structures and processes and protocols and everything they've got to do. The brand is promising and delivering value, taking into consideration all kinds of factors throughout operations, from keeping technology current to planning for the as yet unknown future. They have to be ready for that. They have to see what's on the horizon, and they have to be able to flex with that. That's called agility, right? So when you have to also think about another thing. Your customers, your external customers, are not your only customers. Your employees and users are also your customers. So any enterprise has more than one customer population to keep happy. So, why? Because happy employees mean greater profits, because there's reduced turnover, there's reduced recruiting, there's less training, and there's more longer term benefit from their experience and their training and their knowledge. So at the same time, let's just be clear, employees need to continue to deliver on their value to the enterprise. In today's fast-paced business environment, nobody gets to coast, including employees. So anyway, a lot of this stuff, what you're seeing on the screen, all these, this is all behind the scenes. Customers and users, even employees, don't see all that goes into the business ecosystem. And we're not even talking about AI or 3D printing or virtual reality or augmented reality or any of the fast developing technologies that are going to have a big impact on business in the future. Let's just, we're just focusing on what we have working now, right? So when we put these these two ecosystems together, the customer and the business, we have a big business ecosystem. And it's about everything that's happening in the customer's ecosystems and their buying journey, which is along the bottom. You can see the bar along the bottom there. That's the customer buying journey. So that's happening throughout this whole process. So you have the customer's ecosystems and their buying journey combined with the brand's ecosystems and structures and processes and considerations. And now we're really talking, because business has to meet the customer where they are in their buying journey to cultivate a relationship. And the business has to do it seamlessly. And that really needs to be done through technology. The technology has to gather data and do it responsibly, and then make sure that data is converted into actionable insights for business growth, for decisions, for team performance, for individual contributions. If the business has legacy tech investments, which might be an aging customer relationship management system, a CRM, or, well, really an aging anything, then there might be problems extracting the data from those systems, or maintaining those systems, or integrating those systems with newer technology. And it can get quite messy for the IT staff, messy being a highly technical term. It's just messy. And really, it isn't particularly pretty for the line of business and marketing people either. So the big question becomes, is your big business ecosystem in good working order? So we're going to next run through 7 specific ways for you to consider answering that question. And the first one is, can your business meet real-time demands? Business happens fast, and brands need to not only respond, but they need to anticipate faster. They need to out-innovate their competition. They need to be able to serve their customers even better. That happens real time. We don't have those lags anymore. And, regardless of location, device, customer interest, whatever, all of that becomes irrelevant. It's really about having real-time data and meeting real-time demands. When your customer conversations shift, you need to be able to meet that. So, all of a sudden it just popped in my head. When you have like a major sports playoff and the newspapers and like the premium people have stacks of shirts and hats and newspapers and everything stacked up for either team to win, so that right after they're ready to go. It's kind of like that, except a lot cooler in digital enterprise, because we don't have to do all that pre-printed stuff. So anyway, so number 2, is your data clean? There is nothing worse than having bad data. That is especially true of when you're trying to extract legacy data from aging systems, right? Your data are the keys to sustainable business success. And so when you're working with data from any of your systems, it needs to come through, be pulled through, be accessible, and you need to be able to see what's going on. Even people who are not particularly tech savvy need that data to make better business decisions. Number 3, is your brand experience consistently awesome? Because your brand experience, your customer experience, that is your only sustainable business advantage anymore. I mean, that's it. It's because everybody else, they can, produce the same kinds of stuff or offer the same thing. There's a lot of sameness, a lot of vanilla-ness. I don't even know if that's a word, but what your customer experiences about your brand and how they move through their process, that's the key. That right there. So it's not just about what you do and how you do it, but about how your customer perceives and experiences your brand. So, and the word consistently, by the way, that is another big key. It's got to be every time. You can't have a great experience and then not. It's if that customer perceives even a slightly less than experience, it's like, they're going to stop and think. And you never want customers to stop and think. Did I just say that? Number 4, is your company using cloud technologies? Cloud-based solutions are proving to be cost and resource effective because you pay for and use only what you need. There's no more servers, no more staff time spent maintaining and upgrading and all that kind of stuff. So are you using cloud technologies yet? Because if you're not, that definitely needs to be, on the roadmap. Number 5, are employees able to deliver peak performance? Remember, we were talking about customers and users are 2 different audiences that that the enterprise has to address? Well, you know, the external customers are one, but your employees are the other. Your users need to be able to do their jobs without friction, frictionless. So the organization gets the full benefit of their contributions. If they're not able to do what they do with ease, they're going to either stop doing it, not do it as well, throttle back, who knows, whatever. But in that case, nobody wins because they're not feeling the joy of what they can do, and the organization isn't getting the benefit, right? So, and again, technology has a piece of this. There's your tech systems need to be integrated and fluid and make sense and be almost intuitive to understand, because you want people to be able to do what they do without IT intervention as much as possible. Oh, this is a good one. Number 6, is your technology built for agility? They're all good ones, but I was just thinking that we've already talked about agility. Agility means, really, it just means flexing with opportunities. So, you know, here are some of the ways that you can know your tech is built for agility. Modules need to be extendable so you can build on them over time. Apps and processes should link into a larger network. They should create an ecosystem, right, that evolves with your business. You need to be able to innovate and then deliver new functionality and new solutions to meet your changing business needs and your customer conversations. So there's just, you know, agility is so much more than a buzzword. It means you're future-proofing. I know people don't really like that word, but future-proofing means that you're ready to expand with what's coming, even if you don't know what it looks like. So you have to think creatively, right? So, you know, it's this is a big picture concept. Well, all of these are, each one, they really are. So number 7, are you making the most of your data by connecting your systems and apps? I mean, we sort of touched on that, but you know, if you have fragmented information because your data is not integrated, it can cost your organization opportunities, customers, partners, employees, revenue. It's a big deal. Data exchanges need to be seamless so you have unified communications and you can get a full picture of what's happening in your organization real time, right? So those are some of the things to think about. You know, you want to be able to know what data is being shared where and how it's being presented, and you need to get insights from all that data. So are you making the most of your data? That is a, you know, and it might, I was just thinking that it might depend on who you ask in your organization as to whether you're actually doing that. So I don't know, that gets us down another little rabbit hole, but you know, you want to get all the information you can from the people in your organization to answer that question. So let's talk about the ecosystem of technology. So what does that really mean? Well, there's a demand. There's a demand for something. The technology is needed to deliver it. So there's a demand, then there's a technology. Well, wait a minute. Now you got to implement that technology, which might mean a new install. It might mean integrating with legacy tech. It might mean maybe fixing an install that went sideways. But you have the demand, then you have the tech, then you have the implementation of it. So what makes all that go? The expertise. So tech products alone cannot deliver on demand, and implementation alone doesn't really serve technology, because without expertise, you are not going to be able to get the most out of that. So, you know, it's really important to have access to that level of in-depth expertise, because most organizations don't have the capacity to have those kinds of resources in-house. So XTIVIA could be your resource for that. XTIVIA goes the extra mile in working with enterprises to make life easier to implement and integrate and innovate technology-based solutions. Why? Well, one, XTIVians are super smart people who get business outcomes, and they know what has to get done to achieve them. So they're super smart people who not only speak tech, but they get business. So that's one thing you need to know. 2, XTIVians are just really nice people. They really care about our customers, and they number 3, have a passion for what they do. They are fierce in their commitment to deliver. Whatever they find under the hood, they're going to figure it out and put it together. And you know, sometimes passion can be a word that is an unclear way to describe something in business, a situation, or a relationship, because everyone has their own definition about what passion means. You know, some people immediately see a tango, for example. Well, maybe you didn't, but I did. So, you know, maybe that means XTIVIans need to learn how to tango. Woo! Hi, colleagues. But, you know, seriously, for XTIVIA, passion means a deep and profound commitment that creates unwavering and relentless movement toward innovation and creating the best possible outcomes from any technology scenario. Really, I mean, it's right in the core. So, you know, passion is it is one of our key values in the organization, and XTIVIans deliver on it every day. So at any rate, the bottom line is that if it's an enterprise technology situation, XTIVIA's experts know how to get it done. And, you know, again, so often enterprises need that specialty expertise, or they need 24/7 monitoring but don't have the resources in-house. But when you're working with XTIVIA, we have your back. So, this is kind of an interesting question. I just wanted to leave you with this, but companies now have their DNA, their digital niche advantage in play. So the questions now are, can they scale, can they lead their industry, and can they anticipate customer needs to innovate solutions? So that's the bigger ecosystem, right? The opportunity, I should have put that, that would have been good. The opportunity ecosystem, right? How do you know opportunities? But at any rate, so there we have it. That is about digital ecosystems and what you might be interested in knowing, and a little bit about XTIVIA.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lynn. That was so great. I really enjoyed what you said about the XTIVIans' passions, and I think that really shows in your speech. So thank you for that.
And I can tango too.
So it looks like we got one question come in during the live session for you.
Okay.
It says, these are all buzzy terms, and I know my company needs to move forward, but what is step one?
That's such a good question. And it's such a huge question because every enterprise is a little bit different. Number one, you have to know your customers. You have to know what moves them, what they're looking for, what motivates them. And, you know, people talk about that, but really, when's the last time that you talked to your customer? When's the last time you did a little R&D group? When's the last time that you were really on top of the changing conversation, which, by the way, you may not be controlling. If you are not an industry leader, other people are controlling that conversation, and your customer is influenced by that. So if you aren't aware of what's happening for your customers and what they're seeing, what they're being exposed to, that's the place to start. And same goes true for your users. If you haven't talked to your staff to find out what can make their job easier, that's going to be a really good place to get some good information. They're on the front lines. They're the ones who are making it happen. It's your number one asset in any enterprise it's your people. So take care of your people, find out what they need, and help them have frictionless performance. And then number three, and these are kind of together. So it's kind of like, I don't know, 1A, 1B, and then 1C, you really do need to know what's going on with your IT architecture, your infrastructure, like what's happening with your data. I know that, for example, XTIVIA just worked with a company that is 100 years old. Can you imagine how many tech systems? I think they had something like over 700 apps or something like that that all needed to come together. And then, making sure that the data is clean from all of that stuff, and then having data governance in place. Anyway, it becomes kind of, there is a case study. You can look it up on our website. The point is, you need to know what's going on with your customers. You need to know what's going on with your users, and you need to know what's going on with your IT. So it's kind of like a three-part answer to a one single question, but hopefully it gives a starting place.
Yeah, I think that's a great starting place.
Thank you.
Well, with that, I think that wraps up our live session. Thank you all so much for joining us today, and thank you for the question. Please don't hesitate to reach out to Lynn if you have any other questions come up after watching this live session. And as always, this will be available on our YouTube channel as soon as we finish here. And also just a reminder, these live sessions are happening every second and fourth Thursday of the month. So please tune in to our next one. And if you enjoyed this, please like this video and subscribe to our channel so you can keep up to date on all of the stuff we're putting out. And Lynn, thank you so much for joining us today and all that great info.
Thank you.
Have a great Thursday, everybody.